President Han Dongqing and Hong Yu are a pair of not biologically related uncle and nephew. Hong Yu's parents cheated Han Dongqing of a large sum of money, devastating him both physically and mentally, and turned his world upside down. Hong Yu ended up shouldering the debts left by his parents, vowing to make up for his uncle's ruined life with his own. His name is Han Dongqing, Xingtu Corporation president. One day, he gathered the talents in his company and encouraged them to work hard, when he noticed a familiar face in the crowd. He couldn't believe what his eyes saw. It's Hong Yu, the son of the criminals who ruined his life. He looked at him with disgust. Hong Yu looked at him in a different way. He looked at him with love in his eyes, as if he idolized him. But no matter what the young man thinks for him, it doesn't matter the hatred and anger he feels for his parents. That every time he looks at the young man, the pain, humiliation and anger that he felt before until now comes back again and again. After he greeted his employees and talents, he immediately returned to his office. Hong Yu was left in awe, hoping that things would get better and that her uncle would love him, that there was still a little bit of love left for him. Hong Yu could not accept that this is how they would treat each other. Since he has been enslaving the president for so long, he went to his office and talked to him thoroughly. He took out all his resentment towards the president, begging him to give him even a little love even as an uncle. It was painful for Hong Yu to see Han Dongqing look him in the eyes with such disgust, and he ignored his feelings that they had nothing to do together and went through together. He loves his uncle so much, and he promises to pay all his parents' debts to him, and follow his orders. He will do everything for this to pay the debt to Han Dongqing, his beloved uncle. Hong Yu's tears flowed. Maybe he couldn't hide the pain in his heart anymore. Everything he went through was probably the cause of the tears in his eyes. Pleading with Han Dongqing that they have a good relationship even for the company. Debt of Love, Chapter 2. Hong Yu's mother and Dongqing are brothers and sisters in a reorganized family. One day, Han Dongqing visited Hong Yu's house, and it was there that he met him for the first time when Hong Yu was little. They looked at each other as if they had known each other for a long time. The little boy couldn't take his eyes off Han Dongqing, when his mom scolded him for reading a music book while eating. Dongqing introduced himself to the boy with a smile and happily shook his hand. He said, "Hear that, from now on you will call me uncle." Because the boy was mesmerized by Han Dongqing's handsomeness, he didn't notice that his food had fallen. Dongqing was happy with the boy's behavior and noticed the violin on the side. He asked the boy if he could play the violin. The little boy proudly answered, "I can." Hong Yu quickly picked up the violin and showed his talent in front of his mother and especially to Han Dongqing. He played his violin gracefully and skillfully as if he took to heart every note he played. Dongqing could not believe how good the boy was. He was so amazed by his performance, that at his young age his talent can be compared to adults. His mother was surprised. Usually the child did not perform in front of the guests. The child himself initiated to play. After the amazing performance, her parents and Dongqing gathered at the table. They talked about the union of their parents who, even though they are old, still want to marry each other. Until they talk about Dongqing's dream that he wants to achieve, he is happy that he is close to Hong Yu's family. They were in the middle of a happy conversation when the boy sneaked around. Maybe Hong Yu wanted to join the conversation because he was fond of Han Dongqing, as if he wanted to be close to his uncle. He came running to him when he called him, making him sit on her lap instead of the chair. Asked him if he didn't want to call him uncle. The boy quickly replied, "No, it's not," and called him uncle. Dongqing was very happy when he finally called him uncle. He grew up in a single-parent family. It's the first time he had such a cordial experience. In those years, Hong Yu has always been his beloved baby brother, but this warm and loving family lasted only 5 years. He finally realized and found out about the evil deeds of his sister and brother-in-law. They entered his house without permission and took all his valuable possessions, including the most important and expensive painting of his grandfather. Han Dongqing found out about the evil deeds of his sister and brother-in-law. He caught them in the act of stealing the valuable paintings and property that he and his grandfather worked hard for. He stopped them, but they were like those possessed by the spirit of a demon. It seems that they don't want to stop searching for expensive things, which they can sell and pay off their debts due to the couple's gambling addiction. Her sister found her grandfather's most important painting. He took it back from her sister's hands, but the woman really didn't want to let it go. Dongqing did not notice his brother-in-law sneaking up behind him. hitting him on the head with the bottle. It hit his head and hurt him, causing the woman to grab the painting. His brother-in-law was not yet satisfied and stabbed him in the side of his liver, causing the young man to fall. He endured pain of the wound. Later he also lost consciousness due to the amount of blood that flowed on the floor, suffering from the pain caused by traitors he considered family. Someone went and rescued the young man from his near death. He was immediately taken to the hospital, went through a long rescue, had half of his liver removed, and was unconscious for a few days. Because of a voice that never stopped calling him, he woke up from a long unconsciousness. It was Hongyu, the person who's trying to wake him up from his long sleep in the void. Hongyu knelt in front, asking for forgiveness for his parents, begging him to take the place of his traitor parents. He asked Han Dongqing that he would be the one to pay for all the sins of his parents, that he would be the one to pay their debts. Hearing those words from Hongyu, he just felt annoyed and irritable. His parents stole everything he had, seriously injured his body. They took everything from him. He was their prey since the beginning. He can't bear such betrayal, humiliation, and anger alone, that he feels that he will be engulfed again by the darkness of dying at any time, so he had to include the only son who did this to him. Their son has to pay for this. That's what he has in mind, to take revenge. He doesn't want to be alone in this heinous crime. Hongyu can't leave him. 8 years ago, Han Dongqing told Hongyu that he owes him $80 million in his grandfather's legacy. Now that he has trained and nurtured the young man, he has to pay his parents' debt starting now. He said he shouldn't be reminded because he already knows what he is going to do. He knows that his parents owe him more than that. As long as this is what his boss wants him to do, he will do everything for him. Depths of Love, Chapter 4. Han Dongqing wants Hongyu to spend the night with a coal boss. The boy did not hesitate to agree to what his uncle ordered. He was told to prepare to receive a guest. The important client named Zhang called and said he wanted to see the new guy today. He wanted Hongyu to check first if it was in his preference. Dongqing told him that he still has time to refuse and that he doesn't force him to do things he doesn't want to do so that he won't say anything to him. He didn't want the young man to repeatedly say that he did that to compensate him in the future. Dongqing was about to turn away when the young man suddenly approached him, grabbed him by the other shoulder and kissed him passionately on the lips. Dongqing was shocked by what happened and couldn't believe that the person he cared for and raised since childhood kissed him. When he realized and came back to his senses, he slapped the young man hard on the cheek, causing Hongyu to stop kissing. Dongqing couldn't believe what the young man had done. His confrontation with the young man was interrupted when the woman they had been waiting for entered, who Hongyu thought was a man but Zhang was actually a woman. She has been an experienced manager at Xingtu for a long time. She is one of the best and trusted by Dongqing when it comes to managing his artists in the entertainment company. After the manager introduced herself, she noticed the bruise on the side of the young man's mouth. She advised him that it is important to take care of the appearance because it is one of the investments of artists in the industry. Dongqing also sent him home immediately because he said he had no work to do right now and that they would talk about it later. The manager was surprised to learn that Hongyu was his nephew, and the president told her not to let others know. Only she and his secretary knew. According to the manager, Hongyu has a strong predatory and inviolable aura. His presence will have a strong impact on his performance and appeal to his fans, making it impossible to ignore his existence. The young man has a presence that most people can relate to, especially ordinary people. He waited for the rain to stop. It looked like he had nowhere else to go because he was being kicked out of the dorm he was staying in. It seems that he will beg to live with his uncle for the time being.